Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Me and Steven are going to be doing a little more Q&A. This will be Q&A part 2, and thanks for watching and subscribe.
Oh my god, we're fucking rich.
How has your perspective on addiction changed?
While I was using, and when I finally realized that I was addicted to meth, then the main emphasis was always on trying to hide that fact from my family, from my appearance, from my customers, and then it turned into trying to be as functional as I could to help me hide that fact. But then now, being clean, I realize that there's nothing to be ashamed of. You want to get clean, just go get clean. Go to treatment, learn what you got to learn, and look at it as not jumping through a hoop, but look at it as you've made a mistake, and it's time for you to grow up and just move forward, and don't look back, and don't be ashamed, and just do it for your family, do it for you, do it for your parents, do it for whoever you got to do it for, but just do it. It's never too late to get clean, obviously, because I waited 17 years. So yeah, just do it.
Was there any time that you were dealing that you felt like your life was genuinely in danger? Maybe a drug deal gone bad kind of a situation?
Yeah, there was times when I would go down to the cities, an hour and a half away, and I thought that everything was cool. I had everything under control, but then I would get into somebody's house and realize that, nobody knew I was even gone. My wife didn't even know that I was out of the city. So kind of like the old joke that we used to say. Someone would come into my garage, looking for some dope or something, and I'd always say, "Who all knows you're here?" And they just and I said, "I'm just kidding." It was just, but it was real when you're 60, 70 miles away, and you realize that nobody does know that you're gone, and they could shoot you and throw you in a river, and nobody would find out for weeks, months, I don't know. But yeah, that's when it was that, plus all the paranoia that goes along with using. It's a really weird place to be in.
So since you were dealing out of your garage for a while, were there ever any moments where you felt like you were in danger even though you were in your own space?
Well, although I was in my garage and I was surrounded by tools, hammers and people coming in, they never knew if my pistol was near me or not. It did cross my mind that eventually I was going to get robbed, because there's always going to be some crazy fucker that's going to think, well, I'm going to go in there with my own gun, and I'm going to take all his dope and all his money. So that crossed my mind. So I always tried to have another person with me, whether it was my buddy Larry or and Larry always had his big dog with him, a huge dog, and then I had my dog, but my dog couldn't hurt a flea. But they didn't know that. I hope they didn't know that. But most of the time, the tools that I had at my disposal, they didn't know what I had. I had baseball bats everywhere, so, and they knew that. But yeah, there was times where you'd see a crazy fucker come in once in a while, and he'd be kind of like casing the place, kind of looking around, like, that got me nervous a little bit. And then I would just tell whoever he was with, don't bring him around anymore. But that doesn't really matter because he still knows where you live. So they can come in with a mask on and say, hey, give me your shit, with a gun, whether it's loaded or not. So, that's always at the back of your mind. So, yeah.
Why would somebody be afraid of a tweaker or of a meth user in general?
That's a really good question. Because for one, they won't get tired. They've got a lot of energy, especially if they just got done getting high. But another thing is, maybe people know this or not, but if you're really, really high on meth, you don't feel no pain. You can, if you have a sliver, and this is a true story, what happened to me, I had a glass sliver in my thumb, and I couldn't get that motherfucker out of my thumb. So instead of going to the doctor, like every couple days I would get fucking high as hell, and I'd get my toenail clippers and my tools, and I would dig in my fucking thumb, and I didn't feel a goddamn thing. I could dig in there. It would hurt. And I could dig in there and feel around for it, and I couldn't find it, and then the next day, it'd be like, fuck, my fucking thumb hurts, and I'd have to bandage it up and get it healed again, and then fucking sure shit again, I'd get high, and I'd go in after that fucker again. And so, by knowing that, of course they're dangerous to fight, because they don't feel no pain, and yeah.
The statistics on meth say that people that are addicted, only about 2% of them will ever get clean and stay clean. So as someone that's done that, someone that's in that 2%, do you think that there's a certain character trait or a certain type of person that is able to get clean that sets them apart from the other 98%?
Well, for one thing, that's kind of an interesting thing is when I went to treatment, I'd go in there and I started with 15 people in my class or whatever, and it doesn't really pay to learn the guy's name next to you because he's probably going to relapse and stuff. But you're not there to make friends. You're there to learn stuff and how drugs affect the body and brain and all this, and how to basically be reprogrammed. That's why they call it programming. So you go in there and you're not there to make friends, but that 2%, what you talk about, is if somebody goes online on YouTube and looks up, and all they find is these people that keep on telling you this statistic of 2%, 2%. Why are you listening to them guys? Why are you listening to them? You should be listening to me, because I've been there and I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it was that hard. But you can look at that negative shit all you want, or look at your past trauma and go to AA and NA and start digging up. They want you to talk about your trauma and your childhood and all this shit. It comes to a point where you just have to grow up. You just have to grow up and move on and work at something that you really want. If you really want it, you can do it. Anybody can do it. I did it, and I had to do it. I did it for my kids because their mother had passed away, and like a dumbass, that's when I should have quit right there. But no, I had to deal with my own way. I had to go off the rails and freaking try and turn into the biggest freaking dealer in town, and then I got arrested, and then okay, I got that out of my system. It's time for me to grow up and move forward. And then getting clean was my new high, and the best way I can say it,
What was the best thing that someone gave you as a form of payment that wasn't money?
One time, a woman that I knew, she came in the bike shop and she said, hey Joe, come on out to my car. I've got something like a motorcycle on top that I want to trade, and I want it off car, so go out and get it off of there. I go, well, what kind of motorcycle is it? She says, I don't know, it said Schwinn on it. I'm like, what? So I said, all right, me having a bike shop, I went out there, and it was a 1968 Schwinn lemon peeler muscle bike, and it was yellow, and it was beautiful. It was like near mid shape. So I gave her an 8-ball for it.
How much do you think that was worth?
I sold it for $1,300.
Wow. Did you ever have any people, men or women, trying to trade you sexual favors in exchange for dope?
Yeah, there were some women, but it was really rare because I didn't deal with women, but there was always some, but they didn't realize that I was married and happily married, and the reason I didn't deal with women is because they were a big risk for being snitches, because and they would make really good dealers too. I mean, I've become partners with females, and we sold a lot of meth, but then it became a problem because I wouldn't have sex with her, my partner, because I was married, and then this would cause that woman to not know how to act without having that extra leverage over me. So it ended up not working out, if that makes any sense. Women can be good dealers, especially if they have that leverage over their dealer, or over their partner, or whatever. But then another thing is that there's always that risk of, if the cops knew that they were partnering up with me, they could pull them in and threaten to take their kids away if they had kids. And the other flip side of women that are dealers, and women that are sexy in general, that are doing meth, they make really good snitches. They work for the cops, and they can do a really good job because they can do it, man. Everybody wants them. So really dangerous, something I never dealt with, but I knew the danger, so it's just like, no way.
When I smoked weed for the first time in high school, I very quickly realized a lot of my peers were also smoking. And before I had smoked, I had no idea. So it was almost like I unveiled this hidden society of stoners. Is that kind of similar in the meth world?
If you're using meth and you come across an old high school buddy, which did happen to me, I ran into him at McDonald's one day, and I was high. It was lunch break, and he was high, and I ran into him at McDonald's. And it's like, hey, how's it going? And he's like, yeah, hey, what's up? And he goes, oh, I'm going up north fishing. You should come with. And I'm like, sure, give me a call. And so I knew that he did meth by his eyes, by the way he was acting. So then I talked to him again, and so yeah, me and Steven could go on and on like this for hours, but we're going to end it here because this is the end of part 2. But if you, the viewer, want questions answered, if you have any questions for me, leave a comment, leave a question, and I will answer it. And I'll see you next time. And subscribe, please. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscriptions by New Year's. That would be awesome. And until then, we'll see you next time. And don't do meth.